Welcome back to the Deeper 2025 podcast. We're so excited that you're back with us today. We're going to be looking at John chapter 1. Before we hop into that, let me remind you to hit the subscribe button down on the bottom so that you get notifications when new podcast episodes and videos come available on YouTube, but also to like the video, to comment, share it with your friends. We want this to just have as much impact as we can. And today we've made it to John 1. So you've made it all the way through Matthew, Mark, and Luke. You're now in Numbers. You're now in John as you read the New Testament. And John chapter 1 is interesting, and I want to just read a couple of verses out of John chapter 1, verses 4 and 5. It says this, "In him was life, and that life was the light of men. That light shines in the darkness, and yet the darkness did not overcome it." And we see right there in the very beginning of John chapter 1 that the Word became flesh and he dwelt among us. And this is talking about Jesus. Jesus is the light. He is the source of light. From the very beginning, Jesus is the light in the darkness of the world. The world is filled with all kinds of darkness. I don't have to remind you of that. I don't have to tell you that. There's chaos, there's sin, there's sickness, there's pain, there's confusion. There's all kinds of things in the world today that would just show us that the world is a very dark place. But Jesus brings the light to the darkness. And so there's a couple of things that we need to learn from that. One thing is we need to recognize that Jesus brings clarity to confusion. Is there anything in the world that's confused today? You think about the gender identity issues that people have. You think about the sexuality issues that people have. There is all kinds of confusion. You think about world events with Ukraine and Russia and China and all the things that go on in our world. There is all kinds of confusion. But I want you to know that Jesus brings clarity to that confusion. He brings hope when there seems to be no hope and there's despair. He brings life where there is death. Jesus is not just some distant figure out there. He is the one who wants to bring light and life and hope. And so my question for you today is, where in your life do you need the light of Christ to shine today? Where in your life is there despair or lack of hope or maybe just darkness? Where does Jesus need to shine in your life today? Ask him to reveal that. Maybe you're sitting there, you're saying, BJ, I really don't know. I really have no clue where it is that I have darkness or confusion. And if that's the case, maybe you just ask him today to reveal it to you. But here's the other thing. If you're a Jesus follower, not only does Jesus bring light, but you bring light because Jesus is reflecting off of your life. And so allow Jesus to reflect his light off of you onto others, because I know if you don't have a lack of hope, if you're not in despair, if you're not clouded in darkness or confusion right now, I know that you know people around you that are. And so we are called to bring the light of Jesus to other people. And then the other thing that I think reminds me when I read that in him was life and darkness did not overcome it. We need to remember as Christians that Jesus is the light and the darkness cannot overcome it, that no matter how dark the circumstances appear, no matter how confused our world gets, no matter how much chaos there is in the world, that we can trust Jesus and know that he will overcome all of it, that there is no darkness that he cannot overcome. And so today, as you walk through this life, ask him to light those dark areas of your life. Ask him to reflect his light off of you onto others, but also just know the darkness will not overcome Jesus. Jesus has won the victory. He's won the battle, and we're just called to trust him and to reflect his light.